Hello everyone, it's Lockie Cart. Welcome back to another tutorial on using your Boss RC505 with a MIDI and also your guitar. Where's my guitar? I'm not sure what's going on in the looping community, but it seems like a lot of people are interested in getting this kind of combination happening for themselves, and that's really awesome. If you've got questions about it, please feel free to put it in the comments. I'm happy to chat with you guys about my own setup and what I've done here. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, you can see in my other videos I explain it in a bit more detail, but we've got the Boss RC505, it's the Mark 1. We have the Akai MPK Mini Mk3 right here. The application I'm using for my sounds on this is called Mainstage, and that is used on a Mac as well. Lots of tutorials out there on how you can set up your drum pads on Mainstage. Go and check them out. I'll leave some in the description below so that you can go and check it out for yourself until I make my own tutorial on how I do it. At my feet, I am also using an Octave OC5 for the bass sound on my guitar. Sounds like this. Let's do a quick rundown on what I'm going to be doing today for our tutorial. As you'll see in previous videos, I've just been making songs up for the purpose of the tutorial. We're going to be doing that again today, and I'm hoping that you can use some of these ideas just for your own kind of sounds that you want to create too. My own setup is quite similar to what I've been using in the past. We've got 3 input effects that we turn to on my setup here. We've got track A, and sometimes I like to throw in different effects, such as like a filter effect on the guitar, like this. Track B is my EQ, and I use that to boost different parts of what I'm doing just through the mix a little bit better. If I'm using my guitar to try and cut through the sound a little bit, I use it if I'm kind of trying to do a lead guitar, or if I'm going to be singing over the top of some of the stuff, I'll generally boost the EQ up. You can set it to EQ, and then you use the knob to actually increase your volume on there. It's quite awesome how that works. On track C, I tend to use the reverb, I use the chorus effect, and also the roll effect quite a lot as well, depending on what I'm playing, depending on how I'm building up my loops as well. The way that I've set up this loop station is that you can choose whether you just want the tracks to work individually or whether you can have them on at the same time. When you have them on at the same time, I've noticed that your selection of effects that you can use is decreased. I think that's because the machine can only have certain things working together. If you choose to just have the tracks working singularly, meaning when you choose one track, as soon as you choose another track, the other track turns off, I think you have a bit more to select to use. It means you can't combine the effects together to make a sound. So for example, if I wanted to use the filter effect on the guitar and also add in some reverb to it, which would sound like this. Without reverb. You know, I could also add, put like a roll delay on the filter as well, which could sound like this. So it's quite incredible what this machine can do, how it can combine different effects together. I really like being able to do that. I really like just using my fingers to be able to play with that a little bit too. So that's really handy when I'm playing live. So moving over to the track effects. The track effects works in a way where once you've recorded what you're doing, when you hit an effect on that, the effect goes onto the loop that you've created. Okay, so for example, So some of the effects that I've got, we've got a slicer effect, which kind of cuts the sound in and out. Interesting the ways that you can use that. You know, we've also got the filter effect. And then we've got the beat repeat. You just have to use your imagination as to how you think you'd like to put all the pieces together here, okay? So hopefully what I'm going to do for you today is add to that mix of ideas that you're putting together yourself for either songs that you're trying to create or ways that you'd like to use this when you're playing live out at a venue somewhere, which is what I do weekly. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. Okay, I'm also going to add my own kind of flavor to how I do things here too. Please don't think you have to do it exactly like how I do it. This is just how I know it works for me, and it always gets a good response whenever I'm playing live as well. Okay, usually you'll see me start with some kind of drums or rhythm. Now the reason I do this is because if you play with guitar first, there's a high chance that your rhythm and timing might be off. And if your timing is off with your first loop, then it's going to ruin the rest of what you're doing, okay? Because if the first track is off, and it throws off everything, all right? So I'm going to start with something pretty simple. There's a bit of rhythm, and I'm going to build up from there, okay? So I'm using a drum track called Depth Charge. This is on main stage. And if you watched one of my previous videos, I mentioned that I like to kind of beatbox as I'm pressing on the drum pads. It kind of helps me with my own rhythm and timing too. We'll start with a bit of a beat. Here we go. Okay, cool. Track 1 is done. A beautiful thing about this machine is that you can set it up in a way where each track you use to record, it doesn't have to be the same length as the other tracks that you record from. It's beautiful how it works that way. You will see that there is a red ring that is around each of the buttons. When you press go, the red ring kind of closes as you do it. Now, as that is closing, if you press record on another track, it won't start recording until the ring has completed and it starts the next round. When it starts the next round, it'll start recording for you. So it gives you time. As you're watching it close, you can press record, set your hands up for what you're about to do on the guitar, and it gives you time to get ready to start, okay? So what we might do on the guitar is something like this. Cool, so we've got something recorded on track 3, and we've also got something recorded on track 1. All right, now it's up to you what you'd like to do from here. Okay, sometimes I like to kind of add a few more layers and textures to the guitar track that I've just put on, which, you know, it keeps people interested that are watching as well. I'm going to add that to track 5. Okay, so here we go. Okay, awesome. Now, so we've got something on track 1, track 3, and track 5. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I like to put percussion sounds and the extra kind of stuff on track 2, and I like to put the bass sounds on track 4. All right, you might find that you yourself have figured out your own kind of locations for where things like to go. And that's probably one of the best things that you can do on this machine when you're first starting off, at least, is to decide, okay, what do I want each of these tracks to kind of do? What jobs do they want to do for me whilst I'm playing? Track 1 for me always seems to be the drums and the rhythm. Track 2, kind of the percussive sounds. Track 3, rhythm, guitar. Track 4 is bass. Track 5 would be the extra bits and pieces that I like to kind of add just for that cream on top. And I also like to do a lot of vocal layering on track 5 as well. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now. I'm going to put them down. Okay. So let's start adding things to track 2 now. I'm going to find some kind of sounds that I like to use on main stage here, and we're going to add them onto track 2. Here we go. Let's say you're building up some of your layers and you're like, I messed something up. This sucks. I don't know what to do. You've pressed record. You've messed it up. You've already built up this, stuff on track 2, for example. There's a few different percussive things, and you might just get the timing wrong on one of your layers. All you need to do is hit the undo redo button, then press the track that you messed up that one layer on. It will remove it. You press undo redo again, and then you can choose to re-record over the top of that. Okay, so for example, I've just put the shaker on, and for sometimes you might just be off with your timing a little bit with the shaker. Okay, so you're playing it, you can hear the shaker. I did pretty well with that. All right, but let's pretend like I didn't do it. I'm going to press undo redo, choose the track 2. All right, so there it is. I can choose to do it again now. So you have to be aware on how things are sounding, okay? And when you get better at what's going on, you can undo and redo on the fly, and people won't even notice what's going on sometimes. Most of the time they know, but sometimes they don't, okay? So if you're getting quite good. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 5 done. We're going to add in some bass now. And usually if you add in the bass last, it kind of seems to catch people's attention quite a lot, especially when you're using this Octave OC5 that we've got here today as well. Okay, so let's add some bass. What I'm going to do is figure out a bass line as the song's playing, okay? And then once I feel like I've got it, just before the red ring closes, I'm going to hit go, and we'll get it going, okay? Have a look. Here we go. Great. Now we've got all of the tracks that are being used up, okay, and we've got a pretty cool little sound that's happening. Now, as we're doing this, you want to kind of go into this thinking, what's the vibe of the song? What is something that I want to hold on to that I can really use as an idea? Okay, maybe you've got a pre-existing thought that you want to carry into this, and you can base the vibe of the song on this. The other day, I was doing some stuff, and I came up with this thought in my head about being like someone else, looking up to a person and trying to be like them, and then realizing that the person that I was looking up to try and be like was actually not in line with who I actually wanted to be. And so it kind of makes sense that I could possibly use a line like that in a song that we're making like here. Okay, so let's see if I can think of some stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in just some lead guitar stuff that we can use that's easy, but it's also catchy, okay? You don't have to have a lot of skill when you're doing this kind of stuff. You don't have to be able to shred, all right? I can't shred on this sort of thing, all right? But I can choose some sounds that sound quite nice, all right? So I'm going to do that on track 5. what I like to do is turn the EQ on and also the roll effect. Turn the roll all the way down to 0, okay, and then we can have a bit of a nice delay as we do this. So we'll cut all the tracks out, and here we go. Alright, so now we've got the guitars, the bass, everything's ready to go, okay? And we've chosen a theme, okay? As I've been doing this, I'm thinking, alright, I want the song to base around being like that person. So let's just use those 3 words. Be like you. Alright, and let's try and add some vocal layering into this too, okay? So, here we go. You can hear how this is sounding now, yeah? You can hear where this is going. So, what we can do now, we've got the bass of the song, we've got everything that's going, all right? And everyone listening is probably thinking, "Be like you, what this is about? What is this about?" So now we're going to tell them. Okay, here we go. Alright, that's it. That's the tutorial. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing. I don't normally like to do all that kind of subscribe to my channel kind of stuff, but hey, it helps out with what we're trying to achieve here too. So, my name's Lockie Carr. Hit me up with a message if you've got any questions. Till next time. See you later.